Hi, my name's Brett and today we're going to make two different pastas. The first pasta we're going to make is just a plain pasta. For this recipe we need 150 grams of flour. Now the flour you can use, today we're just using plain flour. You can use double O, triple O flour. They're higher in gluten and it just gives it a stronger pasta to work with. We're using 4 egg yolks and 1 whole egg. And the second one we're doing is exactly the same, but we're going to flavour it with a little bit of beetroot to give it that gorgeous beetroot flavour and colour. So the first one, we just put a pinch of salt into our flour and we make a well in the centre. We throw our 4 egg yolks in the middle and 1 whole egg. And what we want to do is just mix that gently to get it started so it all starts coming together. Slowly that will just start forming. You don't want to work it too much. And you can see that has now formed a beautiful dough. Now whenever you make your pasta, you should always make it wetter than drier. It's a lot easier to add a bit more flour, but it's very hard to add water. Okay, so you can see this is a little bit wet. You can tell that because it starts to stick to the bench. So a little bit of flour on your bench will get rid of those little bits that are sticking. And then we start to work our dough. Now the best way to work your dough, you don't want to work it too much, especially as this is normal plain flour, is push with your palm, fold towards you and turn. That way you're working the pasta in all directions. You can see just by gently rolling that around, it's starting to stick again, so just a pinch of flour. The last thing you want to do is go filling your whole bench with flour because your pasta will dry out. So a little bit more rolling. You only really need to knead this for about 30 seconds and there we get our beautiful pasta. So we're going to let that sit there for 20 minutes to rest. Now while that's resting, we're going to move on to the second pasta. Exactly the same. Little pinch of salt, 150 grams of flour, but this time we're going to use a pinch of beetroot powder. Now this is a dehydrated beetroot that's been in powder form, and this gives a beautiful colour and flavour to your pasta. You can use any flavouring. They have sweet corn ones, they have squid ink, anything like that. So again, 4 egg yolks and 1 whole egg. And we start working that exactly like before. Now with 4 egg yolks and 1 egg, your pasta should be a little bit wetter than drier. This is much easier to work because you can add a little bit more flour. And it also depends on the size of your eggs, how well you separate your egg yolks from your whites will determine how much liquid you get in. And just knead it till we get a nice smooth paste. If it starts to stick, a little bit of flour. And you can really see the colour of that beetroot coming through the pasta. And that's it, ready to roll. Okay, we've now allowed our pasta to sit for about 20 minutes just to allow it to rest. Now what we want to do with the pasta is we want to work it on the widest setting of the machine for about just enough to work the pasta till it goes nice and smooth. Now 90% of the work is done on the widest setting before we start making it any thinner. So what we do is we put it through and then we determine if the pasta needs any flour. This does, it's a little bit sticky, so we just put a little pinch of flour at a time. This way we're not throwing flour all over the bench and all over the machine. That would dry your pasta out. So we just put that through a couple of times. Each time we're folding it over. Now what we've done here is we've worked our pasta till it's getting nice and smooth. A little bit more flour, and what we're going to do is a thing called a book fold. By folding in both ends over the top of each other, we're now stretching the gluten in another way. So we've stretched the gluten in the pasta. We're now going to roll it in the opposite direction. It also gives you can determine the width of your pasta. So if you wanted a wider pasta or a thinner pasta, this is the time that you can determine that sort of width when you do the book fold. So again, we're going to fold it over. So in total, we've probably folded it over about 5 or 6 times, and we're getting that beautiful smooth finish. One more time, and then we can start making the pasta nice and thin. Okay, so one more little bit of flour just to help it go through the machine and not stick, but we've still got a very nice moist pasta. So we click it down one setting at a time, and you'll see it's getting thinner, thus longer. So each time now some people say to me, how do you do the pasta by yourself, putting it in and out? There is a quicker way, so I will show you the quicker way. You can actually overlap your pasta until you form a circle. Then you can work your pasta by spinning it around your hand, getting it nice and smooth. Go down the setting and just keep going, and one continuous roll. So it takes a little bit of practice just to get your hand to spin around at the same time, but you get a beautiful soft finish in your pasta. Then when you finish, you can cut that, and that's ready to be hung. What we want to do is we want to hang this for about 10 to 15 minutes just to air dry it before we cut it through the cutter for our fettuccine. Okay, we're coming back to our beetroot pasta. Same thing, what we're going to do is roll this on the widest setting and adding a little bit of flour if we need to, if it starts to get a little bit sticky. See that beautiful colour coming out? It is a little bit sticky, so we'll add a little bit of flour at a time just to prevent. We don't want to go throwing flour all over the machine. That just dries your pasta out. You want to add as little amount of flour as you need. Okay. One more. Beautiful. Okay, a little bit of flour. And now we're going to do our book folds. We've stretched the gluten in all one direction, and we're going to fold that over. We're now going to work the pasta in the opposite direction to work that gluten evenly through the pasta. One more, and we should have our nice, smooth pasta. There we go, so we can see that pasta's beautiful and smooth. Just a little bit of flour, just so we can start making it a little bit thinner. Click it down one at a time. Each time it's getting a little bit thinner. Okay, looking nice thickness. Probably one more. And now what we're going to do with this is we're just going to hang that up and air dry it for about 10 minutes just to allow it to go through the cutter without sticking. So we've now air dried our two pastas for about 15 minutes. This allows them just to dry a little bit on the outside and make sure when we cut them they're not going to stick. Now we can use semolina because semolina is from the husk of the wheat and it won't dry our pasta out. So we're going to put a little bit of semolina on each side just to prevent that sticking of the pasta when we cut it. So the first one we're going to do is we are going to do the wide fettuccine. What we want to do, put our cutter on and then roll it evenly through the cutter. And you'll see you've got your beautiful fettuccine coming out there. So there we have beautiful fettuccine ready to go in the water. Now again, if you wanted to, you could hang this up and dry it overnight, and then you've got beautiful dried fettuccine that would last 6 months in an airtight container. The second one we're going to do is the thinner angel hair. So we just move our winder to the second one. See that beautiful angel hair pasta, again ready to be cooked in the water. Same thing with this one, you could air dry it overnight and you'll get beautiful angel hair ready to be used in 6 months' time.